Welcome to the Disney Parks Podcast with your hosts, Tony Casanova from DisneyByTheNumbers.com and Parkhopper John from WDWParkhoppers.com. Keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the podcast at all times. And get ready for the Disney Parks Podcast. And now, the Disney Parks Podcast Infotainment segment.
Hey, welcome everybody to the Disney Parks Podcast. And we have a fellow author and previous guest, Kevin Barry, is joining us again. And if you don't remember, Kevin is the author of a new book that he mentioned the last time he was here, The Ultimate Guide to an Affordable Disney World. And he's also the webmaster of the great site called frugalmouse.com. So welcome back, Kevin.
Hey, thanks for having me again. Good to be here.
Yeah, it's exciting. You told us about the book the last time, and you delivered on the book as promised.
It's finally out. All that blood, sweat, and tears and writing, and finally hit the stores. So very excited for that to happen.
Yeah. So how long did it take you to write the book?
Oh, geez. So the whole process probably, from inception that said I want to write a book and do this to actually publishing it, probably I'd say almost a year, probably a full year that I took. So a lot of research, a lot of writing, a lot of editing. There's a lot of work that goes to a book, obviously, which you know, being a fellow author. So probably a full year's worth of work put into it. So it's finally good to see your baby grow up and be a real live book out in the stores.
Yeah. Well, you did way better than I did. I did 7 years, so a year is pretty good.
Wow, 7 years.
I'm a little slow on the uptake. No.
Yeah.
Mine was a lot of research and a lot of, do I really want to publish this? Yeah. Contemplating with myself, who the hell is going to read this kind of thing?
All Disney fans.
Yeah, but you never know. So give us a little overview of what the book's about, and then who do you think would be interested in the book?
Yeah. So I talked to a lot of people. So I obviously started the site frugalmouse.com, many years ago. So I talked to a lot of my readers. A lot of readers email me questions. And since we're kind of in the, how to save money, how to go on, going to Disney World on a budget theme, a lot of people felt like that they couldn't go, or they could only go every couple of years. And that kind of motivated me to write this book, to say, hey, if you do the tips and strategies that I outline in the book and I write about on my site, you can easily afford to go every year, every other year, as much as you really want. I think a lot of people just, didn't know too much about how to save on these big ticket items and was pricing themselves out of these trips. So that's where I kind of got the original idea to write the book, is really to help us fellow Disney fans be able to go more often.
Yeah. Yeah, because I hear that a lot from people I speak to too. Is we used to go every year, but we can't afford that anymore. It's usually like every other year or every 2 years now.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. It is. It's definitely an expensive trip depending on size of your family and how far you go. But it doesn't have to be any more expensive than any other vacation that you take.
Yeah. So as a fellow author, I always like to ask other authors now. So how did you get started with the research for all this? Because you have a lot of information that I guess is very broad and could vary maybe on where you're coming from, or where you're going to stay and things like that. So how did you go about gathering all the information and doing the research?
Yeah, so I actually tried a lot of the things I wrote about in the book out on myself.
Okay.
So I try to get down there once a year. I've kind of in a little bit of drought right now because of the book and being busy with work. But so I pretty much everything that you'll read about in the book, I've tried out myself. So that's where a lot of the research came. There were things that I tried that didn't work out so well, that I obviously didn't put in the book.
Right.
So it was a lot of trial and error, and doing research on different strategies, things like running DVC points, which I had no idea about before this book. I was kind of just perusing online, figuring out different ways to save on it. I came across that, tried it out, and we saved big on our one trip a couple of years ago doing that. So it was a lot of trial and error, a lot of research, a lot of talking to people. So I know a lot of people I recommended write about in the blog, and then people tried out and they report back, say, hey, I was able to save this much, great, or it just didn't work out too well, and kind of scrapped that idea. So a lot of research, talking to people, and really trying it out myself to see what was the best results were.
You should have had a chapter of things not to do, lessons I've learned.
That's a good. I should have nailed to a post of here's how not to save money.
Yeah, right. I tried this and it failed miserably.
Bad idea.
Yeah, exactly. So the title of the book is The Ultimate Guide to the Affordable Disney World, but could some of this be used if I wanted to go to Disneyland?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one thing I put in the introduction. I know I actually contemplated kind of doing a spin-off book just about travel in general, because a lot of the things that you learn about in this book about how to save money on flights and hotels and food, I apply to all my travels. So I'm a pretty big traveler outside of Disney. I kind of travel all over the world. I try and take a big trip at least once a year. So I really, all the strategies that you learn about with the hotels and flights and everything, you can apply to any vacation, any trip that you take. I just obviously frame it as traveling to Orlando and staying at the resorts, but really there's a lot of information there that you can find valuable for any type of travel. And like I said, I do all the things I said myself on my travels. So I've been able to travel all over the world using all the different strategies for pennies on the dollar.
Right. So you have some different chapters, but let's start with what are your best tips that you would give to somebody for getting there? How do I get there? Is it bus, plane, train, boat, bicycle? What's your best tips for getting to Walt Disney World?
I'd probably say not bicycle to start off. It's probably one of those things I would not do is ride a bike. I'm sure it's very cheap, but
unless of course you live in Celebration. That's
true. Yeah, I think I might want to be careful on some of the highways. I don't know if they're quite bike lanes, but So for the other, for most of us, is we have to fly to Orlando. So I'm up in Philadelphia. So anytime you want to go, obviously we could drive, but that's like a 16-hour drive, and it's not too much fun. So for most of us, for the most part, I focus mainly on how to fly to Orlando for free, not for free, for cheap.
Right.
So one of the main strategies that I use is using Southwest frequent flyer miles to just highly discounted flights. So Southwest is one of my favorite airlines. Bags fly for free, so that's a perk right there on Southwest. You save $25 a bag if you need to check a bag. And the frequent flyer program is really easy to use, really easy to understand, and really easy to use flights. So one of the strategies I did for my last trip was I signed up for one of the credit cards. They're issued by Chase. And after you use the credit card for a little bit, you get 50,000 Southwest frequent flyer miles for never having set foot on a plane.
Right.
So I took those Southwest frequent flyer miles and I flew my wife and I for free. Well, actually not for free, for $11 a person round trip, using the Southwest miles. So to be able to get to a round trip flight from Philadelphia to Orlando for $11 a person, I mean, you can't beat that. That's saving you $400, $500, $600 plus, depending on where you're coming from.
Right.
So I mean, being able to shave many hundreds of dollars off the cost of your trip right then and there is a really, really huge benefit.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people sometimes don't like to go the credit card route. So some other tips to look out for when booking air travel. I know a lot of people can get excited and book their flights really soon, really far out. So if you're going in a year, they book it a year out. Generally, you want to book between 60 and 30 to 45 days out from your trip. I know it's going to be kind of hard to wait that soon, but that's the time frame where you're going to get the best price for flights. If you book way in advance, you're going to pay a premium because prices are set a little higher, way out, and also they really jump really close into your flight. So sweet spot is between 120 and then 60 or 45 days out from your.
Because you could also get then penalized for booking last minute as well.
Yeah, definitely do not book last minute. I know some people have said, sometimes I see flights drop in the last second.
Yeah.
But that would be in the category of things I would not recommend doing because you might end up paying an arm and a leg.
Yeah. I also heard that Tuesdays is like the airline golden day or something. It's like Tuesday afternoon or something, or Tuesday evening. update all their pricing or some crazy thing
Yeah,
like that?
I've actually booked a lot into that, and I know some sites recommend Wednesdays and Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Everything I researched and saw, it didn't really matter when you actually booked. It mattered a lot more when you're flying.
Right.
Obviously, flying in the middle of the week is a lot cheaper than flying out on a Friday or Saturday or the weekends. So if you can do like a Wednesday to Wednesday or a Tuesday to Wednesday flight, you're going to save a lot more money if you do a Friday to Saturday flight.
Yeah.
It's because there's a lot more business travelers. Obviously, the weekend it's more convenient for people to travel. So I don't know. When you actually fly is going to have a much bigger impact on your price compared to when you actually book your ticket.
Okay. Yeah. Something I just did recently, I'm going back to New Jersey for a weekend for a little family barbecue thing. And I found a cheaper flight if I went to a smaller airport rather than going to, New Jersey, New York's main airports like Newark, JFK, and LaGuardia. I went to, my brother lives closer to Westchester Airport, which is in upper New York there. And I went there and I saved like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, that's a great
going to a smaller airport.
Yeah, that's a great tip. A lot of flight search engines like Google Flights and Kayak, you can check a box that says search nearby airports. Like you said, you might be able to save hundreds of dollars just by going from an airport. I know, for example, where I'm at, Atlantic City, they have a direct flight from Atlantic City to Orlando on Spirit, and you can get like dirt cheap flights just because a lot of people don't use that.
Yeah.
One word of warning with kind of Frontier and Spirit and those budget airlines, they're going to nickel and dime you for everything. So even though the initial fare may be, hey, this is really cheap, they're going to pay for a seat assignment, you're going to pay to carry a bag on. Just be aware that those fees can really add up for those really budget airlines, even though the initial fare may look very cheap.
Yeah. There was there's no secret, I've said it before, I sometimes Uber on the weekends, and I was driving this woman from the Four Seasons, which is a very deluxe resort.
Yes, absolutely.
To not Orlando, MCO, but the other Orlando airport.
Sanford, right?
Yeah.
Sanford, yeah.
And she got a round-trip ticket from Mexico and back for $99.
Wow.
Now, I don't know if it was on a cargo ship. I don't know if she had a stand or she had to pedal her way home. I don't know, but $99 round-trip from Mexico just sounds really cheap to me.
It is, very cheap. Some of those budget, that's kind of one of the plays that budget airlines do. They fly into those secondary airports.
Yeah.
I think Allegiant Air is pretty big in the Sanford.
Yes, I think maybe that was the airline she had mentioned.
Yeah, I think Allegiant, they're one of those bargain airlines. But like I said, if you fly, Sanford's not that far away from, Orlando, so it's definitely a viable option to do that.
Yeah. Hey, the question that I always get asked, and, I think it is a preference on you and your family, and even, if you have a family, if just you and your wife or something like that, should you or should you not rent a car when you come to, Central Florida? Let's say.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those questions like, should I stay on site or off site? It's such a kind of what your situation is when you need to go down there. So I get the same question a lot: do I need to rent a car? And a couple of questions I ask are, are you trying to go grocery shopping? Do you buy your own groceries? Are you staying on site or off site? Are you planning to go to SeaWorld or visit or Universal? So, there's so many questions. So, basically, if you're going to spend any significant amount of time off property, it probably makes sense to rent a car, because you can get cars that are very cheap in Orlando just because there's so much competition. There's so many companies. There's so many cars available that you can get a car fairly cheap. But if you're just going to use Magical Express, go to the parks, use digital transportation, it doesn't really make sense to do it. And like you said, Uber's down there now.
Yeah, sure.
So, it's if you need it for one day, just call an Uber, take it to the supermarket and back, or Orlando and back, and you'll save a lot more money doing that than renting a car. So I would say avoid it if you can, and do things like Uber or a taxi if you can. But I really everyone has to look at their own situation and see if they need it.
Yeah, and I would even tell you, if you're an Amazon Prime person, Amazon Now is delivering in Orlando. So you can actually go online and have the stuff delivered to your room within an hour. Probably not to your room, but at least to Bell Services. And you can certainly do that. They just started that probably about a month or so ago. And I think they're trying to crush all the all the grocery delivery services that are in Orlando. So,
yeah, I mean, between like I said, Uber and delivery services like that, I mean, it's almost getting to the point where there's a lot of times we absolutely will not need to rent a car.
Yeah.
So, even Ubering from the airport. I don't think I've actually Ubered from how much? Do you know how much it is about for an Uber from the airport to property?
You can't get Uber X at the Orlando airport. You can get XL and the other I don't know, can't remember the name of it, XL or 2XL or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you want to take an Uber X, what I tell people is take one of the hotel shuttles to one of the nearby airports, which are only a mile off a property, and then turn on your Uber and get Uber X. And the cost typically from the airport to any of the Disney resorts is probably about $15 to $20, depending on which one and if there's any kind of surge going on. But it's about $15.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat that. That's way cheaper than a taxi, than a Mears, than
Mears is $70. So
it's crazy. I can't believe they're still in business with those prices. But I guess that's why they're trying to keep them out of the
exactly. That's why they're trying to keep them out of the airport. Yeah. Because they won't be in business.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, that's a great tip. That's a great tip to just shuttle to a local hotel and grab it from there.
Yep. Do you have any tips for the train? Because our first trip back in '76 was on the old Amtrak train.
Oh yeah, actually I did mention that in the book.
Yeah.
I personally have never taken the train. But I mean, it's definitely a viable option. I think if you're where did you come from? When you
New Jersey. It was
Jersey?
long.
Yeah, I had relatives who took the auto train from, I think they drove to Virginia. Yeah, Virginia, and then they drove down. Yeah. And they loved it. I mean, it's a long trip, but think about it, you don't have to drive.
Right.
I looked up prices, and I couldn't find a time where it was more cost effective or time-wise effective to take the train versus fly.
Right.
So, I mean, if you're closer in, maybe it makes more sense. I know that sometimes you can find some pretty good fares, on Amtrak, especially if you take off hours. Yeah. At times the peak trains are a lot for commuters. So if you take like a super early train or super late train, you can get some good deals because they're just trying to fill the trains up. Yeah. So I would try and check for off peak trains, and if you're close, just compare it with the driving, the cost of driving and the cost of flying. Yeah,
and we sat in just regular coach, and we brought like a little cooler of sandwiches and sodas and drinks and snacks and things like that. So we did some dining in the dining car. There was a dining car, but we didn't do a lot because we did have some food with us. But the thing with the train is it stops almost at every single major city along the coastline.
There's a lot of cities.
And that's, sometimes you're stopping 2-3 times in each state. Yeah. So that's why it takes so long. Yeah. If it just went from New Jersey to Florida, it'd probably be there in half the time, but that's not what the train does.
Yeah, so. I used to, for work, I used to take it between Philly and New York, and I mean, it's the fastest way to get to New York City from Philadelphia.
Oh, sure.
You're going like 100 miles an hour. You're flying up there, but like I said, it does make a lot of stops, especially those local trains. Yeah. But it's very comfortable. I mean, you're more leg room and more space than a plane, so that kind of makes it a little better. Yeah.
And I think it's Mike Scopa from what used to be WDW Today. I think he takes it from New York, from Penn Station. He only takes the train down. He won't fly. Really? But I think he gets a room, like a little rail room. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, with his own private, little bath, shower kind of thing. So
that's not too bad if you can go to sleep and wake up.
And he says the Wi-Fi is, not too bad. So
that's another thing. You do get Wi-Fi. I remember using that.
Yep. Okay, so now once I get here, and I'm trying to get into the park, you have some tips on how to get a ticket for cheap, which I just find that funny. A ticket for cheap. I don't even think there is such a thing.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll kind of go back to that list of things not to do. The things not to do is buy tickets on eBay because they're probably
fake
or a scam or used. Yep. Don't buy on Craigslist.
Nope.
And don't buy them on those shady shacks on the side of 192 and 535 or International Drive. Just don't do that. So those are ways to lose a lot of money. Highly recommend against those. Really, I mean, like you said, it's like a unicorn, a discount, discount park ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really, I would stick to kind of the official sites like Undercover Tourist, Orlando Best, I think, is another site. But some of those officially licensed resellers of tickets, I would stick to the big ones. Really, you're going to get maybe 10% off if you're lucky. So, I mean, I guess it's really better than nothing. But that's kind of one of the toughest things to do is Disney they're not going to lower the prices of their tickets. They'll never do that.
Yeah.
So, I think one tip I would give is if you are planning a trip, say within the next year, I would buy your tickets as soon as you know you're going to go, because it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when ticket prices are going to go up.
Sure.
So I'm planning a trip for 2017 and want to go for a week, buy your 5-day park hopper ticket now, rather than waiting for 6 months or a year, because for the most part, ticket prices are going to go up. And I think we're in for more bad news because, like last year when they released the seasonal pricing for the single tickets, I think the writing's on the wall that they're going to go to something similar for the multi-day tickets. I don't know how they're going to do it or pull it off, but I mean, it's just kind of a supply and demand thing, and they can do it. So I feel they are going to do it. So
I think last year was phase one.
Exactly.
When it happened, I said, "Get ready, kids, strap it on, because this is going to be a bumpy ride by the time they're done executing the plan." Because I think we're in for a lot more trouble this time around. My rule of thumb to anybody that is trying to buy a ticket is if the ticket is for more than 10% off, you're probably being ripped off. Yeah. Just take the ticket and burn it, or don't buy it. And the other thing is, always ask for a discount. AAA, AARP, government, DVC. Mm-hmm. You never know. Sometimes they go, "Oh yeah, we have a discount for AARP, or we have a discount for AAA, or whatever." I know they don't do those things all the time. Sometimes government employees, or you never know. I'd say just ask every question. To try and get the best deal you can. It never hurts to ask. The worst thing they're going to say is no.
Exactly. Yeah, two other things. One is military. So if you're a military or a spouse or a relative in the military, they get a really good discount. Mm-hmm. Another thing is I personally, I guess is, again, a personal thing, but I stopped purchasing the park hopper option.
Yeah, I did too.
Because I feel like when I purchase it, it's a good amount of money. It's a couple $100, added to the cost of the ticket. And I feel like when I purchase it, I feel like I have to use it. So I'm like, okay, let's leave the park and let's go somewhere else because we have to use our park hopper versus kind of just staying in the park, enjoying, spending a full day in the parks. I always tell people, do you really need the park hop? I mean, some people really enjoy that. So, hey, by all means, go for it. But I would recommend if you're trying to save a couple $100, just remove the park hopper option and enjoy the park from start to finish. Every park has plenty to do.
Sure.
So you don't have a there's not really a huge need like back in the day when Animal Kingdom was, barely a day to jump around. Now, 4 days, 4 parks, you'll be set.
Yeah, that's not really a full day yet, but it's getting pretty close.
Yeah, getting there.
They do have stuff at night now, so if you do go at night, at least there's something to do.
I think the first time I went there, Asia wasn't even open yet, so it was like, okay, we did the 3 things here. It's 10 a.m. Right. Let's go.
Right. I tell people not to park hop too, unless of course they're on a really short trip, like 2-3 days. And they want to get to all 4 parks in 4 days or 3 days. Then it's a park hop, but like you're saying, it's not worth the extra money.
Right.
There is plenty to do in the parks. Okay. Now I need a place to rest my head, Kevin, because I'm tired already.
Okay.
Where should I stay? And let me ask it to you this way, because this is always the question I usually get. Mm-hmm. I want to stay on Disney property, but I really don't want to stay at an All-Star Sports because there's too many people there. Where should I stay? That's the question I always get asked.
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, I think one of my favorite things is renting DVC points.
Okay.
So if people aren't, I'll explain it really quick if people aren't familiar with it. But DVC members, they purchase a certain amount of points per year, and then you have those points which you redeem for a room. So a room at the Animal Kingdom Suites or Animal Kingdom DVC Resort costs so many points per night. And a lot of times, a lot of members either can't use all their points or just want to get rid of them or have some extra left over at the end of the year. So what they do is they can rent those points out to friends and family or whoever they want to.
Right.
And what we're able to do as non-members is rent those points or purchase those points from those members to be able to stay at those DVC resorts, which are super nice resorts, for a lot cheaper than the rack rates that you're paying. So I think when I rented, I think I got them for $12 a point, maybe $13. I think we're kind of going back and forth, but and I think we stayed at the Old Key West, and ended up costing us I think right around $200 a night for a one bedroom
That's great.
suite. So I mean
That's probably half off the rack rate.
Oh yeah, I think it was more than $400 a night for the one bedroom. So I mean that saved us at least 50%. So that's one way to really cut down the cost and really stay at a really nice resort. And that's one thing I highly recommend for larger families too, because you can get the one bedroom and the larger villas that can hold a lot of people. And if you split the cost, then you have two bedrooms, you can split between two families, and you have a ton of room, and you really save a lot of money.
Right.
Money that way. Another thing, I'll go back and touch the points thing again, is one of the other things I did on my last trip was stay at the Swan and Dolphin using hotel points. So Swan and Dolphin is kind of one of those weird resorts where it's on property. You get access to the extra magic hours, but you don't get Magical Express. But it's right in the Epcot area. It's a great resort. But they're actually technically Westins.
Correct.
And they're also part of the Starwood Preferred Guest program.
Yep.
And similar to Southwest, I got a Starwood Preferred Guest credit card and got the points from that card to redeem for free nights at the Swan and Dolphin. So I was able to get 4 nights for completely free at the Swan on my last trip. And rates go about $200 a night for the Swan. It's a super nice resort, great location. So I was able to save almost $800 on my hotel stay with that. So I want to touch on that one as well.
Yeah, that's a good deal. A travel agent friend of mine was down here, recently. I can't remember when. And she said, "Hey, come over and check out this house I rented." It was, I guess it was like in the Championship Gate area, which is right off of Disney property there. And I guess it was like a townhouse. It was like a 3-bedroom townhouse that was gorgeous. I mean, fully furnished, all the pots and pans, nicely decorated. I think she had like a 70-inch television in the living room.
Nice.
And then she had widescreen televisions in all the bedrooms. It was beautiful. I said to her, all right, I have to ask, how much is this? She said $200 a night. Wow. I was like, what? She said, yeah, this lady, had it on I forgot what website. I don't think it was Airbnb. She had it on some other website, and she had some pictures. And her and this other travel agent friend of hers stayed there for a couple nights, and it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. So I guess it's possible, but you have to be cautious of A, who you're renting from, B, how the money's going to exchange hands. You don't want to pay for it all up front, right. Because you may not get anything. So just be cautious. I'm sure Airbnb is another probably great way to get a room if you're solo or something. And I know, vacation homes. There are a lot of vacation homes that are for rent here in Florida.
Definitely.
And that's also another, if you don't mind staying off a property, it's another great way to get. Some of them have their own pools, their own entertainment centers, video games, and all those kind of great features.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one question I actually get a lot as well from some folks with larger families. They say, I have 3 kids, I have 5 kids. What do I do? Because I can't rent. I can't afford 3 hotel rooms. I said, hey, rent a house. That's by far the best bang for your buck. And I've never used Airbnb in Orlando, but I've used Airbnb elsewhere, and I think I've done 4 or 5 times. I had great experiences each time.
Okay.
You pay, you have a lot of, people leave reviews for the places, so you see reviews. The money goes into escrow, so the seller doesn't get paid until you actually stay there. So if there's any disputes or anything with money, Airbnb covers that. And also you're covered by Airbnb's insurance, so if anything were to happen to the house or in the house, the house is covered by their insurance. So, I've had nothing but good experiences using Airbnb and similar sites.
That's good.
Yeah, it's great. And like you said, you can get a beautiful house for $200. I mean, that's incredible.
Maybe I need to start renting out some rooms in my house. I'm only 12 miles from the park.
Yeah, hey, throw up Airbnb. You never know. That's kind of nice thing about Airbnb as well. You can rent a single room. You can do a apartment. You can do a condo, or you can do a 5-bedroom house. I mean, there's different scales on what you're looking for.
Yeah. Somebody said to me, they could shank you in your sleep. I said, well, yeah, that's extremely possible. But,
Yeah, I mean, you can walk down the street in the park. I mean,
Yeah, it could happen out in the front of my house. It doesn't have to happen in my bedroom.
Yeah, I've never felt unsafe, renting someone else's house. But some people are like, well, they put cameras in there. I'm like, well, I don't know. If you really want to see me, then so be it. I don't care.
All right, that's now you're freaking me out. All right, any other good tips on where to stay?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're looking to have an awesome affordable vacation, I know a lot of people don't like the All Stars, but I mean, you really can't beat it for the price. Sure. And a lot of times, Disney's running promotions pretty much year round for anywhere from 15 to 30% off room rates. So, I mean, you can get a room for less than $70 for a lot of times a year, depending when you're going. So, highly recommend that for larger families. Like I mentioned, renting a house is a great option. Renting DVC points is awesome. And if you stay if you do rent a car and stay a little further away, if you say you're a couple miles outside of it, you obviously find a lot better deals if you're stay offsite.
Yeah, there's a lot of places like in the Kissimmee and Clearmont area that you're not that far, but you're a car ride away.
Yeah,
but you can find that. Now the other thing too that'll make the argument for All Star Sports, if you're the type of people or family that like to be at the park and rope drop and don't come back until the park is closed, just stay at the All Star Sports or whatever, because you're not in your room.
Exactly. Yep.
Why pay all of that money for something that you're not going to be in? Exactly.
Yeah, that's why we are. We're kind of we're open to close, and we come back, we pass out, we wake up, go back to the park. That's really what we do.
If that's what you do, then it doesn't matter where you sleep. You could be sleeping in your car.
Exactly. Yeah.
And maybe if you rent a good van from Enterprise, maybe you just sleep in that in the parking lot.
There you go. Save a lot of money.
Exactly. All right, Kevin. Now I'm getting hungry. I'm in the parks, or I'm at a park. What do you have for tips on places that I can eat on the cheap?
Yeah, so eat on cheap, again, a big one that comes up with a lot of folks. So obviously, one thing I like to do is eat a larger meal for lunch. A lot of times the menus will be slightly cheaper for the same entree or dinner for lunchtime. So a lot of times we'll kind of book a reservation for like 1 or 2 p.m. and eat a breakfast, eat a large lunch, have something lighter for dinner, like a counter service restaurant. I generally don't like packing and bringing food. It's just too much of a hassle. I don't feel like doing it. You have to kind of lug it around. You have to keep it cold in a cooler. So I know a lot of people do like to bring food in the parks, which can save you money. I personally don't. I don't know. I don't really enjoy doing that. It's just kind of more of a hassle for me. But that's definitely something, if you're interested, you can park a soft-sided cooler and bring some food into the parks. For one question I do get a lot is, what's the best deal for character dining? A lot to do with character dining. I've looked at all the prices for all the different character dining options, and the best deal is the I hope I'm getting the name right, Garden Grove restaurant in the Swan.
Okay,
Is it good? Garden Grove?
Yes.
At the moment, but so the Garden Grove restaurant in the Swan does character dining for breakfast, and they have it for dinner as well. and it's a good amount cheaper than any of the other character dining options out there.
Yeah. Also check, I think now the Four Seasons does a character breakfast on Thursdays. And I think that's also on the cheap. I think it's somewhere around $37 per person. A little bit cheaper, obviously, for kids. But I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, let's check out the Four Seasons. I didn't look too much into that one.
Yeah, I think they just have Mickey, Minnie, and Goofy.
Hey, big three.
Yeah.
Can't beat that.
Yep. So, I always get asked the question, Disney dining plan or not Disney dining plan, and I always say, well, you're gonna pay more because you're gonna get charged the rack rate for the room, so that they can give you the Disney dining for free if they're doing that promo. Right. And if you're gonna pay for the Disney dining plan, I feel that you can spend probably less money if you budget yourself to do those kind of things.
Right.
So,
yeah, I mean, I know free dining is a big thing. Yeah, you kind of have to run the numbers. I mean, if you're a family that's a big eater and you're going to eat all the meals and all the snacks and really take advantage of everything, you probably could come out ahead slightly.
Yeah,
but it's a lot. I mean, I've done it once. It's a lot of food. I mean, it's a good amount of food. So if you're a big eater and you really like eating, then you maybe can make it worth. But I don't recommend it. I mean, it is easy. It's really easy to say. It kind of feels like you're going to an all-inclusive, but even with free dining, you're paying the rack rates. It's still kind of hard to come out ahead. But if you are going to do dining, obviously I would say wait for the free dining promotion. But then again, even then, a lot of people tried to book it for this last one that came out. When was I guess it was a couple months ago at this point. But the rooms filled up so quickly, and it looked like they didn't have much availability that the availability was gone like that. So. Right. I think they just do it kind of drum up, interest, but it's really hard to guess. I know a lot of people were trying to bank on getting the free dining promotion, and unfortunately weren't able to get it. So I wouldn't really, I wouldn't bet on that.
Yeah, and I think they cut back on snacks this last go round too. The 2016 snacks I think got cut back.
Yeah, and even like the free dining, I think. They're coming back. So I think even some of what you got for the free dining package on the Value Resorts was even less than you got previous years as well. So, I see they keep cutting that back. I'm assuming it's probably just gone eventually.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't stayed lately. But do you know? Have they been doing like the bounce back discounts? Like if you stay and then they would leave in your room a thing. If you book your next trip now before you leave, we'll give you the special pricing.
Yeah, they definitely do that. I don't have there's a number you can call. I don't have in front of me, but there's a number you can call the resort to get a bounce back offer. I think if you just Google, current bounce back offers, there's a couple of sites that kind of post those up. Generally, they're like kind of the typical discounts, like 30% off. I've seen some where they give you. A couple days in the park for free or highly discounted. So, I mean, if you are planning to come back, it's worth looking into those. But I haven't seen the bounce back offers be really that much better than kind of publicly available offers.
Yeah,
that's part.
Yeah. Do you have tips for families that, let's say, all right, I'm done with the parks for today or for now. I want to have dinner, but let's go somewhere off Disney property and grab a meal or things like that.
Yeah, off Disney property. Disney Springs, obviously, that's brand new. So I haven't actually been there yet, so I'm looking forward to checking that out.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff happening down there.
Yeah, so they're kind of finally finishing up construction there, so that'd be a fun thing to catch up on. Let's see, off-site. We go up the City Walk a lot up in Orlando, up at Universal.
Yeah.
So we kind of walk around there and check out those restaurants. And they're constantly changing things out there, so that's a lot of fun to do. If you're a golfer, you and do stuff like that, there's plenty of stuff to do offsite. I guess you can't take the kids, things like that. But check out those areas. And there's a ton of, it's a ton of restaurants, ton of things right off site that you can look into. You're going to run into a lot of chain restaurants like Outbacks and Olive Gardens and things like that. But if you avoid those, I would look up Yelp, see what some good restaurants are around there, and there's a lot of good options that you can check out.
Yeah. I mean, I drive. My father owned a restaurant, and he said, if you're looking for any kind of chain restaurant, it's on I Drive. And if you can't succeed there, you're not going to succeed anywhere.
Exactly.
That is, and they're really doing a complete end-to-end revitalization of iDrive. It's not going to be the iDrive once they're done with this 2017, 2020 plan or whatever.
Yep.
It is going to be gorgeous, and you're going to love it. There's going to be high-end and fancy schmancy places and the luxury resorts they're building. It's really going to be an interesting place. Yeah. And even on 192 now, Jimmy Buffett is building a Margaritaville.
Oh, nice.
Which is going to be a full resort and vacation villas.
Oh, that'd be cool.
With like a huge water park in the middle of it. Yeah. And I think there's going to be 5 restaurants there, and it's not going to be that far from the back door to the Animal Kingdom area.
Oh, very cool.
So there are lots of places. Listen, if you want to find a place to eat in Orlando, just follow me on Facebook. I'm always out for trying a new restaurant. So
so many options. I mean, you can, like I said, you can just around. There's endless options. If whatever price range, food, any type you want, there's a spot for you out there.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, if you do come in September, for Food and Wine or the Halloween party or things like that, they have what they call is magical dining in Orlando.
Okay.
It's in the entire month of September. It's from September 1st to the 30th or whatever. You can usually go to Orlando Magical Dining 2016. And there'll be a list of restaurants. And it's everything from the high-end restaurants like Kappa at the Four Seasons to, Outback.
Okay. Special deals that they have.
Right. You get every restaurant has to have a 3-course meal. So they'll give you an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert. And usually you'll get a choice of all of those. You'll get a choice of your appetizer, a choice of your entree, a choice of your dessert. And it's, I think last year was $33 for all 3.
Oh, Philadelphia does something similar. We call it Restaurant Week.
Yeah.
And every restaurant, in our center cities, you have a special menu, 3-course, and it's $35 a person.
Right. And then I think 1% of all the proceeds go to a charity too. So, cool. I don't know if you can write that off on your taxes, but we do a lot of dining, and we try and figure out all the high-end restaurants and go to those.
Oh yeah.
All the fancy schmancy places that we would normally can't afford an entree for $33, but we're going to get a 3-course meal for $33. Like La Luce over at Bonnet Creek, Bull and Bear over at Bonnet Creek. You can't get an entree over there for $33.
I bet. So when I'm in Orlando next time, where should I go? If I have one restaurant to go to off-site, where would you recommend I go?
I'm going to tell you Four Seasons, either go to Ravello, which is the Italian restaurant on the first floor.
Okay.
It is 2 things, the best service and the best food. And you'll have a great time.
Okay.
I just find that the food is very, very good, and it's reasonably priced for a deluxe, not even a deluxe, a luxury resort. Mm-hmm. And you'll find that very good.
Okay.
Ask for the limoncello for dessert.
What's limoncello?
Limoncello is usually a lemon liqueur. The executive chef there, Fabrizio, makes his own, and he makes it from grain alcohol.
Ooh, probably a kick to it.
It's got a little kick to it. And it's not. They used to have it on the menu. It's not on the menu, but if you ask, and Fabrizio has some in his stash, they'll certainly share it with you, and obviously charge you for it. But that's an off-menu item that you can ask for. The other place I would tell you to go is Kappa, also at the Four Seasons, which is on the 15th floor. A beautiful view of most of Walt Disney World.
Oh, cool.
And from up there, you can see illuminations, the Star Wars fireworks, and Wishes.
Oh, nice.
So you can see all 3 fireworks shows all from one place.
That's
and have a great meal. And that is a Spanish steakhouse and they do a fabulous job up there as well. So that's where we tell you to go.
That's great.
That's my favorite place on property.
So I'll definitely have to make a stop at the Four Seasons. I've never been there, so I'll have to make a stop and choose one of those. I
would even tell you if you're looking for like lunch on an afternoon and you want to get out of the parks, go to Plancha, which is at the Four Seasons Golf Resort.
Okay.
They have a great chorizo burger.
Ooh, do like chorizo. Delicious
burger, perfectly cooked. They have great guacamole. Everything is fresh and made, to order. It's really a great place, and it's reasonably priced as well. A good place to get out of the park and just have a nice, cool lunch. So.
Right, made a note of all those spots. I will definitely.
Four Seasons is my new favorite place. I really do love that place.
I've never been. I'll definitely be going there next year.
Yeah, check it out.
Very cool.
Okay, I just want to. All right, so tell about Kevin everywhere people can get the book. Where are all the places people can?
So actually we're selling exclusively on Amazon.com. Happy Prime Day.
Right.
So if you go to frugalmouse.com, you'll see the place to go to it. It'll direct you to Amazon. So we have it in paperback and also in Kindle /ebook version as well. So check it out on Amazon, and hope you check it out and enjoy it.
Okay, and don't forget, it's the ultimate guide to an affordable Disney World. So I enjoyed reading it. There's some things in there I think I need to learn. Even though I live here, I still need to learn some frugalness. And then tell everybody where they can find you on the internet if they want to follow you on Twitter or Facebook or things like that.
Frugalmouse.com, Facebook.com/frugalmouse, and @frugalmouse on Twitter.
All right. Well, there you go, kids. That's how you can save a couple bucks and still have a pretty good vacation. So, all right. Hey, thanks, Kevin, for coming on. We truly appreciate it. And as we say around here, we'll see you in the parks.
In the parks. Thanks for having me.
The Disney Parks Podcast is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company. All Disney parks, attractions, lands, shows, event names, etc. are registered trademarks of the Walt Disney Company.
Like a bolt out of the blue, fate steps in and sees you through.